Now let's quickly look at the communication approach of a leader, and
Yeah.
of course, how is the communication? What ways are, like you mentioned earlier, that because you had people that are older than you, and you have a way of speaking to them or correcting them. Now, even if they are not older, what are the ways that a leader and a boss communicate with
Leaders do more of listening than talking. Okay. Leaders observe. So in their communication, leaders tend to allow the followers to also express themselves. Communication is two ways. But for bosses, they are dictatorial in nature. They dish out orders. Okay. And maybe we are not yet there, but I need to say this, that it doesn't help you to achieve much if you want to be bossy. There's a saying that you can only force a horse to the stream. You won't force the horse to drink from the water. If you say you are bossy and you want to begin to dish out orders, what about getting that level of efficiency that you want? That level of
People
effectiveness.
will just be working out of like fear, or I don't want to get into trouble.
Yeah, they're doing it just to make you feel you have achieved what you want to achieve. They're not putting it
Yeah.
as it is demanding their, all. As a leader, when you are listening enough and you know how to communicate with them, you see them putting their all into what they're doing. It improves their productivity when you communicate right with your followers, with your subordinates. You see them going out of their way to do things for you. Sorry, I will still go to another biblical instance. David, when he was in Cave Adullam, remember that he himself was in a situation that was not pleasant. He ran there to seek cover. But he met in that place the distressed, the depressed, the oppressed, so many people there. And at the end of the day, he made of them armies. But there was a time David needed water. And his armies take their lives to go and bring the water for him. Do you know he said he won't drink that water? Now, I'm not going to the part of where he said he won't drink that water, but what I want to draw out is that he has been able to show them what true leadership is. And so that was why they could stake their lives to go get him water. That's how much leadership can help you to achieve. Leadership is the best way to drive, is the best way to drive projects. If you are talking about project management, if you want to really drive a project, you have to be a leader, not a boss. For example, bosses, they have this idea that they are not accountable to anyone.
They don't take orders, neither do they report to anyone, even if they
They
have.
don't want to report. But a leader is somebody that sees whatever he's doing as a stewardship. And so he wants to give accounts. He's accountable. I will also draw from the scriptures again. The Bible told us that whatever you find yourself doing, you do it as unto the Lord. That guy mentioned in that text, he said if he's not saying it, that he's not just ungrateful to me, but he's ungrateful to God. Joseph in the Bible, when Potiphar's wife wanted him to lay with him, he said, how will I do this great wickedness and sin against God and my master? I mean, whatever you do, you must do it with a sense of stewardship and accountability. Leaders prioritize serving their team. They want to serve their team. Jesus was an example. He washed the feet of his disciples. But bosses want to, they want to be served at all times. A boss wants to sit down and be ordering everybody around. What happens to doing it together?
The use of the word I, like No other
They are
person.
they are always at the front of it. They don't want to. They believe every other person is irrelevant. Those are bosses. You know, they are so authoritative. They want to take the whole control. Bosses are conscious of power. They focus on authority and control. They prioritize rules and protocols, even when they need to bend some rules so that they can get the best of their subordinates. I don't tolerate indiscipline. That's not what I'm saying. But there are situations where you know that the circumstance at that time does not favor that subordinate. You know, I have a foundation here for the Depressed Foundation. Just on 10 of this month was World Mental Health Day. And the theme for this year was, it is time to prioritize mental health in the workplace. And one of the questions that, when I was having the live broadcast, one of the questions that the lady asked me was that, if we are saying prioritizing mental health in the workplace and all of that, how does it really go with the bosses and the subordinates? I mean, because when we are talking about mental health, if our bosses could be the reason why somebody broke down mentally.
Actually, somebody in India, something like this came up because somebody died at work because of the state of the mental health due to the challenges that a person was going through, even at workplace. Yes, I've also had examples of people who are mentally down because of the kind of boss they have, that the anxiety and all of that comes in,
Yeah.
looking forward to going to work and all of that because there is a boss who is very insensitive. So now let's explain emotional intelligence and empathy when it comes to being a leader and being a boss.
Beautiful. When the advent of emotional intelligence came at a time, it was a topic that everybody was, trying to also take in the workplace, because emotional intelligence and empathy, like you said, they are, essential qualities that a leader needs for effective leadership. Because you are able to recognize and understand the emotions even of yourself and others. That's emotional intelligence. And when you understand it, you use it to also guide the way you think and behave. That's emotional intelligence. Okay? So, as a leader, of course, you must understand your personality type, for example. The way somebody, a sanguine, will handle issues is different from the way a phlegmatic will handle it and things like that. As a leader, for example, you must learn to know personality types of people that are working with you or for you, so that you are able to think, through for them. And you should also know the relationship between their own personality type and yours. For example, now, if you are an introvert, let me put it that way, as a leader, and you have an extrovert in your team, you shouldn't begin to see the person in your own shoe, that the person must do things your own way. Emotional intelligence should be able to tell you that this person is different from you. And so the way you handle things is not the way that person will handle things. I hope you're hearing me.
Yes, I am here.
All right. I want to be sure we're together.
Yes, we are.
You know, emotional intelligence is crucial for self-awareness, like I said, for social awareness. It's very, very important. For relationship management that I mentioned earlier, you need emotional intelligence. And even for communication that we mentioned earlier, you need emotional intelligence. Talking to you, I should be able to observe you. What I'm saying, how is it affecting you? If there is the need to change the topic, I should know. As a leader, I should be able to know when some of my workers are not stable emotionally. I should be the one to detect. I have a lawyer friend who one day, I asked him, I said, I've not seen somebody in your team for a while. And he said, I observed that he needs mental health attention. And so I've taken him for help. A lawyer. I mean, so that's what a leader should look out for. You should, as a leader, you should begin to look out for how you're able to help people. The aspect of empathy that we mentioned, you have to put yourself in their shoe. I once had a story, I was not there, but I learned that there was a particular woman. Anytime she's going to work, she's always jittery that, hey, my boss, and eventually the woman caught hypertension. And even while she was treating hypertension, the boss still kept, prioritizing her. I mean, where's the role of empathy in that? Even if you were not conscious of it before the person got hypertension, the moment you are aware that this person is nursing hypertension, should you be the one to also make it worse? That's a place of empathy. Okay. You should practice what we call self-reflection, and you should also, be open.
For feedbacks.
Yeah.
Okay, so, now, I'm sorry to cut you. We actually ran out.
No problem.
So I'd like to now, how would you advise against workplace hostility?
Workplace what?
Hostility.
Hostility. Now, let me take you from the part that whoever is a boss is also having a stake. So workplace hostility is going to make you to also lose your stake one day. So I want to seriously advise against it. Because if you as a boss is hostile, the end result is that you will not even get what you want from that. I mentioned earlier that a leader is looking at the long term. A boss is looking at the short term. Hey, this is the target. You must get it. But do you know what? What about the sustainability? So if you are hostile, you won't be able to sustain whatever targets, whatever goals you feel you are achieving. And I think your long-term goal should be of concern to you much more than your short-term goals. Because whatever organization you have, the long-term goals are what sustains an organization, not the short-term. It is from the long term you begin to break down and get your short and medium. And so as the head, you should be more strategic in your thinking. So hostility will not help you to achieve all of that. I mentioned the case of David the other time. If you are hostile to the people that work with you, when you need them most, they will not be there for you. And again, hostility, what it means is that it's going to reduce your community. Because when you are hostile to the people around you, they won't be able to contribute positively to the community. WHO defined mental health as the ability to cope with challenges, stress and all of that. The moment people working with you begin to develop mental health issues, they won't be able to contribute positively to their community. It's part of the definition of mental health that WHO gave. And for every organization, you have your corporate social responsibility. So if people working with you cannot play that role very well, I mean, you are not doing it right. If people working with you cannot do things right for you, you are not there yet.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I just would like us to round up with this. Thank you. I really appreciate your time.
So let me say that as a leader, you must lead by example. I want to drop these few hints. You lead by example. Then you also foster a positive culture. Let people see positivity as something that you model.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you also provide training for the people that are coming behind you. Provide training for them and then seek support. Seek their support. Let them know that you can't do it without them. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Okay.
Mm.
Thank you so much once again for your time. I look forward to another wonderful time with you.
Yeah, thank you. It's so
And
nice having this opportunity to also engage with you.
yeah,
And I also enjoy the topic.
thank you. And to you,
Mm.
thank you too for being part of the show. Don't be a boss who chooses to go to work even when you're sick because you feel people will not get the job done. And be a leader so that when you're out there or you're gone, just like she got a text from someone who had left for so long and could actually look back and say thank you. That is what we all should look forward to. Until next time when I come your way again, be safe. Bye for now.